Did you know that you are your world? You are your own world.
Yes.
You knew you were your own world.
I have come to that understanding through listening to you.
And what does that mean to be your own world?
That that when people are saying, "Oh, I'm trying to create world peace," or "I'm trying to change the world," we have to do it within ourselves. Really, nothing exists except for what's going on in us. So in the world, but not of it, I think even is deep on the level of we are our own world, but we even have to die of that. We even have to die of like our world in a sense.
And how can you change your own world from negative to good, bad to good?
I guess realizing that everything is within and that you're not really affected by anything outside, and you're really not even affected by anything inside because the thoughts and everything. So kind of maybe not thinking that it's necessarily negative or positive, just kind of knowing that if you can overcome those things and have peace within, that is world peace.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Did you know you were your own world? Hake.
I don't know if I really knew that. It makes sense when you say it.
And what makes sense about it?
Because as I learned in marketing class, your perception is your reality, what you think is reality. And so you're in your own little world. Everybody's in their own little, you're in your own little world, or I'm in my own little world.
And how can you change your world from whatever bad is to good or amazing?
Thinking positive thoughts.
How do you think positive thoughts?
I don't know. It just made me, that was the only answer that would come to mind, even though it was shallow when you asked Hassan that. And so how do you change from negative to positive?
Hassan was shallow?
No, when you asked Hassan the question, I was thinking about like these rap songs about changing your life from negative to positive.
Oh.
Letting go of it, realizing it's all a lie.
What's all a lie?
Even your perception is off. Some of the times your perceptions are just assumptions.
Assumption?
Right. You don't have to say it so harsh.
What do you mean?
Never mind.
It is assumption.
Right.
Never assume.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this, and I realized I am my own world. Each individual is their own world. We are not the world. It's the individual that's the world. And I realized the way you change it is you got to change your mind. If you change your mind, your attitude will change and everything, and your world will become amazing. But if you don't change your mind, it's going to always be trouble and worry and fear and doubt and loneliness and suicidal thoughts and depression and all that stuff. But you have to change your mind.
To what? How do you change your mind, and what do you change your mind to?
Hassan, do you know that? These are my experts, so I just wanted to hear firsthand from the best in the country.
I have... Oh, go ahead, Hassan.
Well, no, I was just going to say maybe just like changing your perspective. You know, it's like it sometimes takes certain things for us to hear or seeing an example of something for me to know that it's possible. So when you hear a different perspective, you're like, oh, wow, it gives you kind of like 180 on things that you never saw before. So, I mean, just kind of, and like you say, Jesse, when you hear it, you've always had it within you, but for whatever reason we've been corrupted or polluted, so it just kind of reigns true back to us that we already knew. So I don't know. I guess it's maybe getting back to who we were before all of the programming. Like before we were obviously traumatized or the world programming, trying to get back to that initial pure state and that truth that's inside of us. Because you said something, I was watching an old video yesterday and you told someone the Bible, the truth, it was something to the extent of the truth can't just stay in the Bible. It has to be within us. It has to be in you.
And you say?
I have sometimes thought that, or had an inkling that I was barking up the wrong tree with my different focuses and the things that I'm trying to solve.
Yeah.
Like in the mornings, I'm concerned about getting my show ready, and then also not missing your show. And then sometimes I'm thinking about like a friendship or whatever and a solution for it. And like the solutions aren't really up to me anyway. And on top of that, those are not even things I need to be preoccupied with. Like how Jesus said, do not worry.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a better one sentence answer.
Yeah.
Like you just said, forgiveness is the best form of love. I think when you really do that and really forgive and the heart changes and everything and the nature changes, you have no choice but to have a perspective change. Everything now is like you see it differently because the anger's gone and you don't have the judgment. So you're able to see clearly. You're not clouded, and it's impossible to kind of have this veil of resentment towards everything because you understand, like, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they do, you know? So you have that kind of is the perspective shift, sort of. Amazing.
I was thinking about this. We had a conversation yesterday, and we've had it before, but in our a fellowship yesterday, we were talking about about tolerance, Christianity and tolerance, and we were talking about taking sides and things like that. And I realized that my mind, over the years, ever since I forgave, my mind has been changed so much it's not even funny. It's like the things I used to think are now gone. My mind is clearing out. And in the Word, in the beginning, there was the Word. God said He would give you a clear mind. He would renew your mind. And every human being, not knowing that you are your own world, the reason you don't know it because your mind has not been renewed. You need a clear mind. And I remember when I first started my organization, Bond, the Brotherhood Organization of a New Destiny, we used to do a lot of protests and things like that, go out and picket in and all kinds of stuff. And I realized, I thought then that it was helping, that it was going to make a difference, but it made no difference, zero difference. Abortion's still going on. The illegal aliens are still coming into the country. As a matter of fact, more now than then. The human beings are still fighting one another, deceiving and hurting one another. And the only ones that change are those who have a change of heart. Like Hassan and James were saying, a change of heart. And then the mind will be renewed. God changes the heart, and He also renews the mind. And so yesterday, when I reflect, I'm thinking, wow, I didn't know. But now I can see it, I know. But yesterday we were talking about at the Dodgers Stadium, I guess it was at the stadium, these drag queen men showed up, pretending to be Catholic, right?
I think so.
Pretending to be Catholics.
Catholic nuns or something.
Yeah, but they were men in Catholic clothes, and they were doing all kinds of gross things because of their hatred of God and their hatred of the Catholic, I guess. But then what happened as a result of them showing up, some Catholic people showed up to protest them. And I was saying that that's exactly what the devil wanted. He worked through those people to do all that stuff so the Catholic people to show up and give the devil life. It's not going to change those people's mind at all. As a matter of fact, it's going to encourage them to do it even more so. And so the Catholic protesters showed up, and you just had the Catholics thinking they were right, and those lost souls doing the nasty stuff thinking that they were right, and two devil groups fighting. And I was thinking, in the past, I would have shown up with the Catholic and did that too, but it would not have changed anything, and I would not have known that it wasn't changing anything. I would have just felt good about showing up. You know what I mean? It's just egos fighting one another, and even in your own life, when someone get mad at you, they want you to fight with them. There was a young man called that said his mother had turned on him when he forgave her, and now she's building an army against him about talking to his family about him and all that kind of stuff. And his best response should be no response, because now the devil in her want him to argue. That's why she's going around finding other devils to agree with her. To agree with her so that devils can fight. I want to show you, here's some of the footage, and then I want to hear you guys' opinion about this. I'll be done. Talking about taking sides and tolerance, right? Here's some of the footage of what is going on with the Dodgers. This is from Fox. Watch this.
Fox over just a huge protest as the Dodgers get ready for Pride Night. There has been a lot of controversy, of course, leading up to tonight's Dodgers Pride Night.
Tonight is the 10th annual Pride Night, and I'm sure the Dodgers have never seen a turnout like this. Just take a look at this crowd. We are talking about 1,500 people. They are protesting not Pride Night itself, but the group that is being honored tonight. The controversial group known as the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. They will be receiving the Hero Community Award because of their charity work. The sisters call themselves an order of queer and trans nuns who use humor and wit to expose bigotry. But Catholics and Christians say the group mocks their faith, and they are absolutely offended that the Dodgers have chosen to honor them tonight.
And it broke my heart that the Dodgers will do this to their fan base, their Catholic fan base, that they will invite this group that mocks the Catholic faith and makes fun of the Catholic religion, makes fun of Jesus and Mary, and they do it in such a very awful way.
Amazing. And you say?
Interesting. I didn't know that they have had so-called Pride Night for 10 years.
Who?
The L.A. Dodgers.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I mean, I'm not that surprised.
So the Catholics just found out they were doing this, and they've been doing it for 10 years?
Well, they crossed a line when they insulted the Catholics by having by honoring those so-called sisters of, the drag queen nuns.
Oh.
Or transgender or whatever they are. It's interesting that that they're being honored for their charity work, the so-called sisters. And it's kind of like how Jesus said, when you give, you're supposed to do it in secret, not to be honored by all these people.
Right.
But they do it as a PR thing to be honored, so that people are more accepting of the LGBT mess. Just like how I heard that the biker gangs used to do charity type stuff as PR, like public relations thing, to seem like good guys.
Do they still exist, the Tobacco people?
Hell's Angels and all them?
Yeah, Hell's Angels.
Yeah, I think they still do. I'm not really sure.
Amazing.
I never even really knew that they existed back then. I just saw them on TV. But you're right. It does come off as like they're just being kind of the Christians, the real Christians over there, are just being annoying, petty,
Yeah.
and irritated and taking it personally just because they just went after the Catholics. And yeah, like all of a sudden they're protesting when in reality they should have boycotted them 10 years ago when they first started doing the Pride Night thing.
Amazing.
Or just stopped going.
Yeah. You say Sean? I mean, not Sean, but
Hassan.
Hassan.
Yeah, I mean,
After seeing the video.
after seeing the video and kind of like more and more having understanding, it's like, yeah, it really doesn't affect the Catholics or the Christians. Like, all of it, you're right, it kind of is, yeah, it doesn't really affect like the Catholics who want to believe that, or Christians. Like, it goes back to kind of like we are our own world. Like, what's going on in the world really shouldn't affect us. It really shouldn't. It's like, it is like an ego thing. It's like, oh, look, I'm holier than thou, so I'm fighting for this cause. But in all actuality, if you're really like fortified in yourself and in your family, your kids and you shouldn't be and couldn't be affected by it.
Yeah. So what's 4 to 5?
I don't know. I was actually looking for more. I
You
heard,
said 4 to 5?
yeah,
Fortified.
4 to 5?
Fortified. Turn it into a fort. Strong,
like
strengthened.
you know,
Oh,
Christians,
fortified.
like
Yeah.
Christians would say, like,
Like
are you,
mortified.
Mortified is embarrassed. Fortified,
fortified.
is strengthened.
Oh.
like how Christians would say, are you resolved in your faith?
Oh, Lord.
Resolute.
But I'm just saying, if you are resolved though, and your
Yeah.
and your family is your kids would just look at it like they look at Halloween or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
if they really were
That's true.
like taught and saw the example in the household.
What I realized that I didn't realize before is that if the Dodgers want to do that kind of crap, let them do it. You don't have to go. They have a right to do it. They're the Dodgers, right? It's their own personal business. So if they want to do it, let them do it. You wish them well. Just don't go to the game.
Yeah.
That's all. But don't judge them. Don't get mad. Don't be affected by it, period. Just you don't agree with it. And then secondly, those people were not offending Jesus or Mary Mama at all.
Yeah, they were.
They were. Did Mary have a mama?
I assume so. Most
But
people
they
do.
were. Jesus was not affected by that. Mary was not affected at all, period. But that woman and those people out there picking it are being personally affected as though it is happening to them because they're so emotional. And it has nothing to do with God. It has nothing to do with love. It's just all hate. The devil's fighting one another. You heard that one Catholic woman, how affected she was by
Right.
it. Why is she affected by some dumb stuff that people do? Because what those people were doing, they were doing it to themselves. They would do it to nobody else but themselves. Christ, she said Christ, they were making a mockery of something like that. They were making a mockery of Mary and Christ. No, they wasn't.
Yeah.
You think Christ is up in heaven thinking, Lord, look at them, they're making a mockery of us. Isn't that like dumb thinking? She out there saying, Jesus need me to stand up for him. That's crazy, right? Just think about it. God is God, and Jesus is Jesus. If they were upset about these people worshiping the devil, they could just blow the people away. Come on, man. I thought, oh, it's God and his son. God doesn't care about that one iota. And those people, those men out there dressed in Catholic dresses, they're hurting themselves. And then the little Christians and Catholics showed up, they're hurting themselves. And the devil want those people to show up and fight one another like that. They're worshiping the devil and doing him a favor by showing up fighting one another. That is so insane, but I understand. I used to think that way too. I thought protesting did some good, and it doesn't. It's just both sides think that they're right. But they weren't, just FYI, those men in Catholic dresses were not offending God. They were not marking God. They were doing nothing but worshiping the devil. and the Christian went out with them and worshiped the devil with them. That's all happened. Both sides on an ego trip. You can't, if you want to be free, you can't fight with the devil in your mind or outside of you, inside of others. You fight with the devil, you're going to lose because you're on an ego trip thinking that you can fight spiritual things, and you can't. So it was a dumb idea. What?
If you think about it, the protesting, all this protesting stuff that's happened over the last 80 years or however long, or 100 or however long, has only been Satan's tactic to advance Satan's agenda. The so-called civil rights stuff. It's the women's march stuff, the gays. It's only ever been to push evil. So why would we think that using Satan's tactic to push for quote-unquote good would do anything?
That's a good point. Ever since they are now, years ago, they wanted to come out the closet. Mm-hmm. They've just gone nuts, and they got other people fighting them, which is giving them more nuts to go nuts. And they'll pass so many laws now supporting them rather than the good people.
Yeah,
the so-called good people. They got all kind of laws now.
And it's kind of like, it kind of shows you how, like, the protesting is really like all the symptoms. Like, all these protests are the symptoms of the actual problem. When really the only thing we should be protesting, I mean, we shouldn't be protesting anything, but if we're protesting anything, it's about like what you talk about rebuilding the family.
Yeah.
Because then you wouldn't have to protest all these symptoms.
If fathers and mothers was on the right side of good and not in a fallen state and they had children, they would protect their children. There would be no fight with them. The devil would be trying to draw them in, but they wouldn't fall for it.
Yeah.
Because that's what the devil does. He draw you into his mess in your mind and emotions, because all thoughts are all lies all the time, and so are emotions, right? And he just draw you in. But if you let go and don't fight with him, he will have to go away and find somebody else to live in. What a mess. So stop taking sides. It ain't happening to you. Don't take sides. There's those people that want to put on dresses, Catholic outfits, and it's just a dress. And let them go out there and make a fool of themselves and show that their hearts are evil, and let them do it. It ain't bother you unless you're an emotional person, egotistical, angry, narcissistic person. And now you got to prove something. And all you're proving that you're wrong too. Stop fighting with the devil, inside of yourself and outside. You don't like the fact that they've been doing it for 10 years, you say? Well,
yeah, they've been doing the so-called Pride Night for 10 years.
And the Christians and Catholics just not finding out. Where they been? They've been going to the game for the last 10 years and they're just not finding out.
Yep.
They're a day late and $1 short.
Indeed.
You need a renewed mind. You, as an individual, are your own world. And if you want an amazing world, you need a renewed mind. Really. A clear mind. Let's do the super chat before you go, Hake.
Okay.
Super chat. One last thing about that. I promise you, had those Christians and Catholics not shown up, those people would have felt so stupid, and they would have gone back home, and they would have joined another group and fought with them. Because the devil got to fight with somebody in order to get a far sense of life. But if you're not of the devil, you ain't going to fight with no one. What you fighting for? You're in your own world. You can have an amazing world. Get to know yourself, folks, so you can see what's going on here.